Back in my time when I was in university in Singapore, I would say I was academically adventurous. What does that mean? My GPA wasn't just low, but it was hanging by its fingernails. I skipped more classes that I should admit right now, especially on a TED Talk in high school. But anyways, and there were numerous of times where I was in the dean's office and the message was crystal clear. One more strike, you're back to your country. I was 18. I moved to a whole new country where I know no one. I have no idea what my life's gonna be from this moment. It was a bit nerve-wracking, to be honest. Every lectures, every day, were about 3 to 4 hours per subject, non-stop. And everyone surrounded me just seems to get it, and getting the A so effortlessly. And there just seems to be able to sit still for hours and absorb all this kind of information like it's their second nature or something. But I could not. I was falling behind, and it hits my emotional turbulence. I felt like I was alienated. I felt like an outsider. And then the fear of disappointing people in your life, your lecturers, your parents, and even yourself kicks in. And then the feeling of you feel so lonely in a crowded room where you're just the only one that feels stuck while everyone is just keep moving forward. And then you start to wonder, maybe you're not enough. Maybe you're not enough for this path that was paved in front of you. That was how I felt. I felt no motivation to learn, so I keep a lot of classes. And that was 3 times the charm where I was almost got kicked out of school. But then things shift. I feel the urge to find an alternative space to complement what I was liking in school. You know, when the school gate closed and you go back to the world, new problems, new technologies, new expectation hits you every minute. And I wanted to learn those problems. I wanted to learn what are the companies are doing? How are they running? What kind of technologies are they implementing out there and why? Not from slide decks, but from people that actually working on it. So that curiosity led me to hackathons. Imagine it's like a 24 to 48 hours of group project, except that you really want to be in this group. And you pick a real problem, build a scrappy solution overnight, 0 sleep with a bunch of strangers. In a room where you can imagine all kinds of laptop brands that you can think of in the world, are all in one room. Hackathons weren't any easier. It was so chaotic, it was so intense, and it was so unpredictable. But in such a short amount of time, I learned so much in this fast-paced. I still remember the very first moment when I first walked into my first hackathon. Buzzing energy with full of strangers trying to grab each other and pitching ideas toward each other. And it was chaotic, but it was so alive. And then I learned, and then one particular hackathon that I remember, 5 strangers meeting each other 8 p.m. on a Friday night. And the next morning, at 5 a.m., we're still debugging and coding. At 6 a.m., we're starting to build slides and refining our business model. And at 7 to 8 a.m., we had a power nap because we didn't sleep at all this night. And at 9 a.m., with a power through of 3 shots of espresso and the amount of adrenaline that you can think of a person that can handle, to power through and develop the most energetic and powerful pitch that a person can have, and like your life depends on it in front of your judges and potential investors. And then it worked. We won. We won out, and it was Hyperhack Hackathon by Temasek. And in 2019, it was one of the very first sustainability hackathons in Southeast Asia. We won $50,000, split by 5 ways. Not too bad for students. But we also have a meeting with the CTO of Temasek back then. But for me, the real win here is not really the money, nor the meeting with the CTO. For me, I learned so much through hackathons that a classroom never gave it to me. You know, a teacher can tell me what a minimum viable product is, but in a hackathon, forced me to build one overnight. In hackathons, failing is not a flaw. It was just a starting point. Curiosity isn't a distraction. It is an advantage. And not knowing all the answers are expected. Those were the lessons that I've learned. And it automatically built an entrepreneurship foundation inside of me. And weeks by weeks, hackathons by hackathons, I started to develop my own pillars to navigate through uncertainty, how to navigate between 0 to 1, how to build from an idea to a full-on business idea. And I call that the ARC: action, resilience, and connection. Action didn't just teach me to do things. It built a persona of a builder inside of me. It shaped me with the way that I can learn by experimenting things and by creating things instead of waiting for permission. Resilience didn't just tell me to be tough. It builds my internal backbone and helped me to develop an instinct to make decisions when things are unclear, the courage to take the first step when you don't have any full information, and the discipline to keep moving forward even when you're still tired and unsure. Those were the lessons that I took. And over time, I decided to no longer consider entrepreneurship as a side project anymore. I want to do it more seriously and consider it as my professional career. And it turns out in 2021, I came back to Vietnam and I started my company. And the company called Outsider. It came from my actual pain when I was 18, moving to the whole new land. What is it about? We wanted to bridge the gap between classroom and real world through a product called Open Work Simulation. What is it about? It's an online course that mimics a days in life of a particular job in a particular company. For example, a digital marketer in Google. What do they do as a daily task? You will learn that on Outsider platform. At the same time, you will also be evaluated by Google staff. At the same time, it's also the screening test for potential internships and future career opportunities, all in one place. I would say the very first few months starting Outsider wasn't easy at all. We started with, every morning, 100 messages shooting out from LinkedIn to strangers. From universities, partners, to companies to co-create the content with us, to investors, to potential developers that help us to build the product, to marketers, to everyone that can help us. And then probably follow up with 20 or 30 emails to schedule meetings, to make things happen, to convert it into action with resilience. And over time, we gained some tractions. But then the unfortunate came. We lost one of the biggest deals we ever had, which was worth $150,000. And I think I cried 2 nights after that. Then, not to mention 2 a.m. argument with co-founders. 5 a.m. meeting calls with developers seems to be normal because we still have to debug the product, making sure that it has to run smoothly on the 9 a.m. client demo. But slowly but surely, we are getting steady, and we reach a certain milestone. Recently, last year, we just signed one of the biggest deals that we had with the Vietnam Entrepreneurship and Innovation Alliance. that entails more than 90 universities in Vietnam to be able to upskill for more than 4 million students in Vietnam. And this year, Outsider exited. We merged into a group of HR companies in Singapore to be able to maximize our impact towards Southeast Asia. And those, I would say, moments, hackathons teach me to start, but building companies teach me to endure. Those weren't lessons that I memorized. Those were lessons that I lived through. So here's my invitation to you. Maybe learning is not a one-size-fits-all. Go out and find your own learning style. Go out, break things, fix things, build things, go try things. Because why? Because the unseen curriculum of life lesson is always teaching, and it's everywhere. And the real question is, are you ready to learn it? Thank you.